Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all between the binary. This is Get Informed with Wajeeh. I am Wajeeh Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a good one for you today. Let's get to the news. Secretary of State Marco Rubio calls Iran ongoing attacks on commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz unacceptable, and says that the U.S. military will continue to protect international shipping. On another tone, the U.S. bombed Iran for an 11th consecutive night as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says that the cost of the war has reached $37.5 billion. I think that's a lie. We spend about $1 billion a day on this war, at least. Tehran has launched more retaliatory attacks on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan with multiple drones and missiles intercepted. Iran says it will confront any hostilities after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to attack a suspected Iranian nuclear site at Pickaxe Mountain pretty soon and very heavily, according to Trump. This is a lot of ongoing news, so let's see what else has happened. According to Donald Trump, Americans aren't against the war. Are you with or against the war, my dear listeners? Hmm? If you're just tuning in, I would appreciate it if you hit that share button. Let everyone know that we are live and it is time for them to come and join us. Destroy that heart button at the bottom right so the algorithms start recognizing that this should be going around and should be spreading. I'm starting with some basic news before I jump into the analysis. I like to start with some news, some bumper in the beginning, allow people to join us. It seems like a lot of people are against this war. A lot of people don't want this war to happen. So President Donald Trump reported that the U.S. public is not against the war launched on Iran, while warning that attacks will continue. They're going to pay big price. They're being decimated. Just to remind you what he's saying. When he was asked about the popularity of the US Israeli war on Iran as more US soldiers continue to die, Trump responded, "Well, Americans aren't against the war." Polls have consistently shown an increasing unpopularity among US public of the unprovoked attacks on the Islamic Republic in February. Americans do not have high gasoline prices, but they are not against the war. That they just came out loud and clear in a new poll. Almost 2 out of 3 Americans say that they are against the war. That's for sure. Meanwhile, the United States is saying it is very difficult to engage in negotiations with the Iranians because you keep attacking them, because you started the war. You don't think it's very difficult to negotiate with the Iranians for no reason? You guys, I can't. Too much. Wallahi, too much. Maybe I need a fragrance to calm my nerves. Hopefully, this will calm my nerves for a sec. Too much, too much. Allah. You see, most people don't understand the how little is enough for you to use when you're using oil fragrances. Just that tiny dab. Ooh, so good. You don't need more than that. Anymore, you'd be drenched. Too heavy. This tiny dab. Oil fragrances are 100% concentrate. So just tiny bit. I thought I was playing music. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that's worth breaking real quick. Like as I was just telling you earlier with Jacob Carswell, I said someone was asking, "Oh, well, Iran will just do this and that." I'm like, no, 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 no. If you hit the Iranian infrastructure, the response from Iran is hitting vital infrastructure in the Gulf states. 2 minutes ago, Al Jazeera says Iran vows to hit critical infrastructure in retaliation for any U.S. strikes. I think they're listening to what I'm saying, and then they say the Iranian says. Because 30 minutes ago, I said it first. I said it first. I said the Iranians will target the infrastructure of water desalination, of electricity. MashaAllah. If you bet on couching, you would have made some money by now. But don't do it. Don't do it. I don't do it. 30 minutes ago. Wallahi, 30 minutes ago I said it. Hold on, hold on. Let's get it in the genie mode. Genie mode, yes. Well, betting on war is very much evil, absolutely. I'm against it. It's called war profiteering, especially if you have insider information. But, I'm just trying to think. My predictions are coming through like 30 minutes later. Are they a lot Iranians listening to me? If you are Iranian or US government and you're not paying a subscription fee, VIP, not $1,000 subscription fee, you should not be here. taking my information and just publishing it right away. How will this all end? With Trump not being in office. After Trump is out of office, maybe it will end. But whoever told you is going to end in the next few months is lying to you. If you're a government entity and you're not even paying subscription, shame on you. Okay. Let's get to what I wanted to talk about. Fast forward to mid 2026, the Middle East is engulfed in a massive geopolitical crisis. The United States, Israel, and Iran, including Lebanon, locked in a direct, grinding war of attrition concentrated around the Strait of Hormuz and recently around Bab el Mandeb. The big shift is after decades, the Gulf was considered a bulletproof safe haven for global money to come and invest with high returns. The illusion of that is now completely shattered. What is the tactic? Following initial US and Israeli strikes, Iran is bypassing traditional military fight. Instead, they have launched a relentless drone and missile campaign aimed directly at the Gulf civilian infrastructure. Now, hitting the desert lifeline, Iran isn't just hitting military bases anymore. They are targeting what keeps the region alive: power grid and water desalination plants. Without it, you only have a desert. Kuwait literally suffered rolling blackouts in the peak of the summer heat after their main water plant was hit 4 days in a row. And electricity. There's a mathematical problem that the United States hasn't been able to grapple with yet. You cannot win a financial war when your defense costs 100 times more your enemy's offenses. An Iranian drone costs about, most expensive one, $50,000 with all the bells and whistles. Meanwhile, a single U.S. interceptor missile used to shoot down costs between $4 and $15 million. We have money to be involved in this war, but we don't have money for our education system. We don't have money for the houseless veterans. We don't have money for the economic stagflation. We don't have money for fighting for the working class, but we have money for this. What is the financial drain when you are considering a $50,000 drone versus a $4 to $50 million missile? Well, the United Arab Emirates alone burned through $2 billion just shooting down cheap drones. Meanwhile, the United States has lost $3.5 billion in equipment, including advanced radar systems and stealth fighters. You can't make this shit up, y'all. What is the Karg Island trap? And why do we keep falling for it? The United States keeps facing a dilemma when it comes to U.S. military planners. The U.S. has a large temptation, especially in the Trump administration, where U.S. officials are debating massive ground invasion of Karg Island, the hub that processes 90% of Iranian crude oil. Well, there's several problems to that. The reality is military war games show that this would have been a total disaster. What do you mean, Wajeeh? I mean, like, we have studied this exact scenario before a million times. Iran has spent decades turning the island into a heavily mined fortress. There is a fatal flaw in this whole equation. Kark is just a transit hub. The oil that's actually pumped from the mainland, if the U.S. takes the island, Tehran could just shut it off with a valve. So not only it's very deadly, how are you going to put troops on there? By boat? By plane? And then how are you going to demine everything that they have mined on the island? U.S. troops will simply be sitting ducks trapped on the island 30 miles from the Iranian coast, sitting targets for kamikaze drones. Gulf states are preventally begging Trump to drop this plan out of his equation because they know it will be a devastating effect on their infrastructure. You see, musical instrument in Arabic play stories. And I feel like this is the best thing that could describe the dilemma that's happening right now. Is that oud? Yes. This is a group of three brothers who play simultaneously oud together, giving you like a very, very delicate balance in how they play their music. So beautiful. It always gives you emotions. Well, we have a mafia shakedown happening at the moment in the Strait of Hormuz. This is the core economic shock that the world stage is facing at the moment. The extortion zone, or some like to call it easy pass, where the Strait of Hormuz basically has been closed to normal shipping, and competing powers now are treating it like a militarized toll road. US wants to charge a 20% protection toll, and Iran is charging the $1 to $2 million transit fee per ship. This is really devastating. This is very devastating when you think about it, because this will just drain the Saudi economy. Let me remind you, the Saudi American relationship is transactional. Meaning, because of these overlapping tolls and the sky high insurance, Saudi Arabia is nearly losing $60 million every single day just to export their remaining oil. Oh. يا boy, يا boy, يا boy, Trump, يا boy. Shippers are terrified. Shippers are terrified of passing the strait. Ah, 65% of all loaded ships leaving the strait are now turning off their trackers to hide. Global visibility over energy flows has completely collapsed. The music needs to be suitable with people with hearing loss. Well, I have hearing loss and I understand. but I have no idea how is this is sounding. Maybe I should play it off after. See how it sounds in the recording afterwards. Traditional economy is crashing, y'all. Saudi Arabia Vision 2030 is taking a massive hit. Tourism is dead. You can't see a luxury vacation when drones are falling from the sky filled with bombs. Saudi Arabia recorded a historic $34 billion deficit in just 3 months, forcing them to pause futuristic mega project like the Neom project. Global threats. A worst case regional escalation could wipe out nearly $7 trillion from the global GDP. $7 trillion. What is currently the wild card? According to economists, it is the AI boom. Despite the war in the Gulf is pouring billions of dollars into artificial intelligence. AI is no longer just a tech, it is a national security measure for cyber defense, as Iran is taking up its cyber attacks against the Gulf states. UAE just fundraised $50 billion for AI fund. Global hedge funds are actually moving to Dubai, ignoring the war risk to get access to Gulf Wealth Fund flush with cash from $120 a barrel wartime oil. The fractured alliance. The bribe that failed to end the war in June, diplomats tried to buy peace with a $300 billion global fund to rebuild Iran. It failed instantly. U.S. hawks called it a bailout for the enemy. And Gulf states refused to pay to rebuild the country currently bombarding them. Understandable. The one clear thing that no one is safe. Qatar tried to act as a neutral mediator. Iran response was attacking. Same thing happened with the Oman. They were a mediator and they were also attacked. Meanwhile, you have the United Arab Emirates going rogue. The usual casualties UAE financially snapped, using its own fighter jets to unilaterally bomb an Iranian oil refinery. UAE has lost it at this point. The outrow were breaking up with Washington. What is the key political takeaway from this whole conflict? That the trust is gone. What do you mean the trust is gone? Gulf leaders are furious. Fundamental pacts where the U.S. provided security to the Gulf states so they can build their economy is completely broken. A clear pivot have been shown where the Gulf is aggressively replacing American defenses with European partnerships and Chinese partnerships. Saudi Arabia is officially bypassing the United States to buy 54 French Rafale fighter jets. 54. Remember, Saudi Arabia was very excited to buy the F 35 from the United States. The bottom line is that the Gulf has realized a harsh truth. The United States can heavily bomb Iran, but they cannot protect Gulf power plants from $50,000 drones from Iran. And they cannot keep the shipping lane open. This has forced these nations into a survival mode. The Gulf is building its own defense industries, preparing for permanent new norm of endless drone warfare. I'll let that sink in for a second. As of 8 minutes ago, Iran is officially taunting the United States. Iran military says U.S. is unable to locate missile production sites. The Iranian armed forces have continued to expand their missile arsenal since the war has begun, despite intensifying U.S. attacks, says spokesman. The military has manufactured missiles and attack drones through all phases of the U.S.-Israeli conflict, including when the Memorandum of Understanding took effect. Missiles are moving directly from production to operation, used while replenishing our stockpile. He said that the U.S. has been unable to locate Iranian various missile production sites despite its extensive intelligence operations. Iran has been able to absorb far more U.S. attack than the Trump administration expected. The CIA estimated in May that Tehran retained 70% of its pre war missile stockpile. Iranian weapons, particularly drones, are cheap products, but can cost the U.S. millions of dollars. Like I said, it costs Iran maximum $50,000 for one of the nicest drones that they have, versus the U.S. would spend $4 to $15 million in a single strike to take down these drones. Y'all should be hiring the Ukrainians and buying Ukrainian drones at this point. Really? What the fuck are you doing? Someone goes, someone's saying I have an echo chamber. How about now? I hope it's better. Okay, good. Yes or no? Anyways, oh, now. My titty. 1 2 1 2. Better. Okay. Better is better. So yes, more U.S. soldiers have died. Was there a war cast with Malcolm this morning? There was a war cast. We were undercover, deep undercover. Me and Jacob Carsbo were deep undercover on behalf of Malcolm Nance. He was 50,000 feet in the sky, and couldn't host the live stream, so he asked us to do so. It is already published on my YouTube and Substack channel. If you wanted to watch that, it's already out there. If you haven't become paid subscriber by then, you should consider becoming a paid subscriber. Everyone here is a paid subscriber. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Go ahead and destroy that heart button for me and share button. I would appreciate it. Do you know if there have been any environmental damages from the ships that were? Of course, there's the environmental damages. There's always. Hexeth was in the yacht seat in Congress yesterday asking for 64 million more dollars. Did you see any of it? Yes, I did. He was a joke. I played a part of that interview on my on the morning live stream, so you must have missed it. How is it okay for Saudi Arabia to have nukes and not Iran? What Trump just did, he just reignited the nuclear arms race in the Middle East. That's what just happened. Wajeeh, what fragrance that is? Honestly, it was a gift, and it seems like it was a special mix. And it doesn't say what the mix is or what's in it. But it's 100% essential oil made out of rare plants and rare oils. This is also another one. I ordered the leather amber thing, and I'm waiting on it to get here. And there will be more other stuff that I'll be buying because it seems like you guys are interested in it. And I might do giveaways since many of you like to try it out. I might like buy some of these and empty and send it to some of you guys. Maybe like giveaway winners. You may or may not like it, but it's something that you would have to probably try. I don't think that's a bad idea to do giveaways, especially like some people said that they want to help me buy these things. So some people, since some people are going to be helping buying them, why not give some of them away for some of you? I don't see the problem in that. And this, I've had this maybe for 5, 6 years. They last a long time. They're small. This is my headphone, but you just need a drop. And that drop is enough for you to last a long time. The instrument that you heard was oud, OUD, not to be confused with the agar wood, oud. Oud and oud are two different things. The oud instrument and the oud, the the wood chips that you burn as incense. I have some of that actually. When you leave it for a minute, it collects a lot of dust, but it's made. It has good. I need to clean it at some point again. This is. Here you go. That's one form. This is Moroki. They come in so many different types. This is for daily use. Comes a little thinner, but you cut it and it smells like nothing. In fact, if it smells very fragranted before you burn it, that's how you know it's fake or it's scented. But if it smells a little funky, that's how you know it's real. Oud comes from fungi. A specific fungi has to make an agar tree sick. And that part that becomes sick with that fungi becomes oud. That's why when you want to buy it, you should buy farmed oud to make sure you are not part of the uh, reason why you are causing deforestation. Having farmed oud, now for a long time, people have been trying to find out what is the chemical that makes these trees have that fungi. And we finally found that out. And now you can invest in a tree and you pay maybe like a yearly fee of $100 or so. And after 30 years or after after like 30 years, you have a tree that can sell for $30,000 or more because at that point you have it filled with oud and they would cut it down. So that way you can invest in a tree and also not be part of the contributing of deforestation. I think things need to be said that way so people understand that you shouldn't just go and buy, especially if someone says wild oud. That's how you know this definitely part of deforestation. If someone says wild oud or 100, like natural, you'll see some people saying natural on both sides. But wild is the one that you need to be very careful from. The musician group that I was listening to are Lee Trio Gibran. They are a Palestinian brothers that travel the world and play oud. Civilian infrastructures attacked by Iran are mostly just water desalination plants and electricity plants. And those are more than enough to put devastating damages to these Gulf states. These Gulf states depend solely on these equipment to run their country. And if you take it down, the whole country's down. 90 to 100% of the Gulf states use water desalination plants for their water consumption, and then you have another 100% of the country is dependent on electricity, regardless. By the way, we still have merch being sold. So if you haven't gotten yourself some Wajeeh Lion merch, join the revolution. You have missed out. We still have them. We have mugs, we have t-shirts, we have hats, we have bags, we have everything. Show that you're a part of the tribe. Let the world know that we have this t-shirt. You can have it in different colors. It is available for you in different in natural 100% natural cotton, 100% natural material, and other heavy made material depending on your need, on your sensitivity. So please consider buying some of the merch from our channel. We really appreciate you showing it around, letting the world know that we are here and we exist. And yeah, it does make a difference for the channel when you get a T-shirt or get a mug. So thank you for everyone that has been getting some. Why aren't people looking into the people? Look, Gulf states. I see your point. Atlantic City and the Gulf states. They what comes fast goes fast. That's a very important wisdom to have. And Gulf states haven't taken the time to build something foundational. What I mean by foundational is that the growth that you see is all transactional. Mm, there's maybe Saudi Arabia is about 35 million. I would say there's at least 10 million immigrants who are at least 10, 15 million immigrants who are in Saudi Arabia just running the everyday to day life for Saudis. The kingdom and the Gulf states are dependent on labor, are independent on global economy. They haven't created a way for people to just start their own businesses and start selling it abroad. It's only oil, mostly just oil. So there isn't much industries, right? And when you don't have much industries and you don't have your historical roots connected in these industries like Japan and Korea, you keep missing out. So even the production that Saudi Arabia is having at the moment has to do with a lot of foreign immigrant workers, and they're slowly trying to build that, but they haven't gotten it done yet. So Atlantis could be still a thing for the Saudis. Why aren't people looking at the individuals who are benefiting from this war? Because that's how the government operates. You get in the government, you make your friends, you get out, you make your own company, you make your friends buy from your own company at an extraordinary price, and you bankrupt the country. And that's what's been happening for a long time with our military industrial complex. I don't know why we pay private companies to produce our military goods rather than have our own governmental infrastructure that builds and make these goods at a fraction of the price. I already talked about the group. I talked about the instrument. Will you please make the background music recurring feature? Well, that depends because I've had people complain about it before and I've had people not complain about it before. So I like to allow people who don't like it to also have some space and then the people who like it to have it. So we'll do a mix of both. Why should the UAE pay restitution for something they have the US started? That's exactly their excuse. Why should the UAE or any of the Gulf states pay for these retributions or fixing the economy if the war was not done by them? I'm not in an empty room, no. It smells slightly sweet, a little musky, and then with some leather notes, I think. Definitely some flour in there. Create my Wajeeh Lion scent. Maybe in the future, I'll make my own fragrances. But at the moment, I'm just a collector. I'm a collector and aficionado. And once I get to a place where I feel like I have a signature scent that I'm willing to sell, then I definitely will have. But in the meantime, I definitely would do giveaways, especially that people are wanting me to buy these things and have been paying me to buy some of them or been offering for to pay me to buy them. So I think they do a good educational thing and it would be a good way to do giveaways and for people to, start to have hobbies. Nice thing about fragrances, it is not a bad hobby. You smell good. You find ways to calm your senses. You find ways to engage different types of your senses, but you have to be very careful, right? Wear gloves. If you don't want to put your scents everywhere, use paper, certain fragrance paper, so you don't put the scent on everywhere. There's different tips that you could use so you're not mixing all your fragrances together. So you're not, so if you're just using it as an exercise, you can tell. But you can tell when I'm using it to ground myself, and you can tell when I'm using it to exercise, like a certain, like trying to figure out, exercise my scent ability, because that's a muscle. That's something you can work on. It's not something you're born with. So you can start like going around noticing things. Just remind yourself of scents. If you're allergic to it, don't force yourself into it. I understand some people don't like this and hate it, and I appreciate you tolerating me talking about it. Yes. Do we use wood for other instrument? We do. We use with the lute. There is kaman. We also have the Middle Eastern violin, which is just a regular violin, but being played in Middle Eastern tone. Let me see if I can get you a Middle Eastern violin. So that is violin. If you notice, we when the violin or the lute is being played, it's meant to mimic a woman's voice, and it's meant to mimic either the woman's voice crying happily or like crying sadly. And you can kind of guess where the whole song is going by the first few tones. um I'm trying to find a specific instrument. Wow, now it's filled with AI. I'll find you something like that later. And does the Gulf state, any of the Gulf states, have a nuclear weapon? There was talks that Saudi Arabia bought a nuclear weapon from China or Iran back in the day, but no Gulf state admit having one, and no Gulf state has one at the moment. Will I post more Sufi poetry? Sure. I'll see what I can do. Did you like the Sufi poetry that I put the other day? Do I know what essential oils are bad for your kittens? No, I don't. Maybe I should do more investigation into that. And I try to keep my fragrances away from the kids, anyways. Um and I try to have them away from the kids, regardless, because cats and dogs are very sensitive to smells, regardless, and you don't want a lot of that around them. So, like, you can put some on you, but don't put any on your pets, please. It's not good. Really not good. I'll see. I'll think about making music list. Do I have cats? Yes, I do have cats. I love my baby cats. I don't use oil diffusers. I just have the frankincense burner, and I have my bakhur burner, and even then, I usually try to open the windows for the cats and turn up the air purifier, because just cats and dogs and smoke just don't go well together. So yeah, I do my part, but I also try to have just enough scent for me to enjoy myself without trying to hurt the cats or the dogs. Two cats. Some essential oils, but I don't know what they are, so I just keep them away because they're concentrated, right? I make sure not to show you guys the cats because when I'm recording, they like to get into my stuff, and just keeping them away from the room while I'm recording is way less headache. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you. Love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, remember, you may not fuck with politics, but politics will always fuck with you.